So you're ready to tackle conventions and or open your online store. The big question is, what the hell are you going to sell? Usually we don't have a big audience when starting out, so we can't know which products and motives will work. Ideally, we'll want to minimize our printing fees, allow easy shipping in our online shop, and at least cover our booth expenses for this alley. While small quantities are ideal, they're often much more expensive or difficult to get by. So here's an overview of the most popular products, considering lower investments, ease of transport and shipping, and popularity both at live events and for online sales. The upcoming videos will also be more focused on art, merch and sales, so remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell for new videos to grow from art to business on Tuesdays 6 p.m. alternating between English and French. That being said, let's dive in. Art prints are a must-have for illustrators. Usually paper goods are the easiest to come by. They don't take too much space when you travel to cons. They are very low cost for shipping if you sell them online, as you just put them in an envelope, and they don't require too much investment. We can divide prints into different products depending on your target audience. Bookmarks are pretty much bestsellers. They are your cheapest product, around 1 or 2 euros or dollars, and this price point is exactly what attracts people. I generally refer to them as being the product people buy even when they have no money anymore, because people usually always manage to find 1 euros in the end. Bookmarks are easy to carry, you always have a book to place it in, and they are super small and handy. People also often buy one just to show their support to the artist. It's not necessarily that they need it, because let's face it, people don't need anything at our booths, but it's the lowest price point that still allows them to show they appreciate what you do and which allows them to support your work. And even if the pricing is very low, don't underestimate its compound effect. There are those events where I'd barely sell anything because it just wasn't my ideal audience, but no matter what, I would always sell bookmarks. One small book fair with only elder people was just crazy. Did I sell any manga book? Nope. Did I sell any bookmark? Yes, over 50 within the first 2 hours. Free posters are also a must if you're attending conventions. As they're bigger, they're not ideal for online shops, as shipping can be double or triple your poster price, especially when shipping outside of your country. So we'll focus on more special prints for online sales right after. But seriously, if you're tabling at Artist Alley, it's not called like that for nothing. People want to see your art. With the right setup, posters allow you to be noticed from afar. And especially at comic and manga cons, you'll have a younger audience who loves decorating their bedroom walls. So posters are definitely a must. Postcards and special prints can complete your assortment, and I'd recommend having one smaller size like A6, A5 or A4, so bigger than bookmarks so that people can better appreciate your artwork, but smaller than posters so that it doesn't take up so much space, as not everyone wants to have big drawings on their walls. At anime and manga cons specifically, popular formats are either A6 postcards or A5 prints. I personally do well with A4, but lots of artist friends told me that it doesn't attract much interest and that A5 seems to be the format that sells best. Now online, I've noticed a slight shift in prints, with more and more people starting to offer so-called fine art prints. They're much more expensive to produce, but with a higher quality and special paper. For instance, you can have textured, varnished, shiny pearl paper. While I didn't see lots of them at regular Comic Cons, at least in Luxembourg and surrounding French and Belgian events, it's much more popular for artists in classical arts and crafts fairs, and online depending on your art style. For instance, textured paper prints are just gorgeous with traditional art such as watercolor, as they give off the feeling that this could be the original drawing itself. While fine art prints are more expensive to produce, they also sell at a higher price point as they address a more mature audience, mostly because they give off such an exclusive collector vibe. So these are the most popular common paper prints. Except for the fine art version, they are generally very budget friendly, both for you to print and for the clients to buy, and they are just a must if you're an illustrator. It's so weird, but happy to see people send you pics of their rooms decorated with your drawings. Concerning the motives, especially when starting out at cons, try going with 10 copies or less of each artwork you want to showcase. Let's say you have 10 different illustrations, times 10 equals 100 posters to sell. And then you also have your bookmarks and smaller prints. That's plenty to sell. And believe me, even if you're having an amazing event, you most probably won't sell everything out. Having less copies of each motif allows you to regularly renew your offer, which is important if you want to stay in the game for longer. After 1 year, you'll probably go back to the same cons again with the same people who already bought from you and who will want to see some news. Same goes for online shops. Your true fans will want news from time to time. Or maybe you level up or change your art style, which won't be in line with your old prints anymore. Either way, true story, and it's kind of frustrating to have 200 posters lying around the house which you can't sell anymore. I ended up giving them all away for free, which could have accounted to around 1,000 euros of lost sales. If there are some around, definitely check out local printing companies first. Maybe a local copy shop even offers some good quality prints. The advantage is that you can feel the paper and get direct advice depending on your projects, which is especially important when you don't have a clue in the beginning. This also often allows you to limit your motives and test before you print bigger quantities. Sometimes local printing shops even allow you to print one single version to give it a try. Otherwise, you can always go with online printers, but expect to have bigger quantities per motif here. And last option, you can invest in a good printer to do yours at home. If you're interested, the next video will be all about homemade versus professional companies for your art products, so make sure to subscribe to be notified. Prints are once again the easiest and cheapest product you can create as an artist, and some are doing really well to get a decent income just with that. Now, if you want to diversify your offer, let's go over to merch and goodies. In this category, we have various goodies such as stickers, pins, tote bags, charms, really whatever object you can print your art on. But as we're assuming that you're just starting out and have only a small audience right now, we'll focus on the most popular items, which are pretty guaranteed to sell at any con or online, and which are still within an affordable budget. Stickers are super trendy because, well, everyone loves stickers. Like bookmarks, stickers are the I support your work even if I'm on a tighter budget items, and most popular at manga and comic cons. People either just collect them because they love them or actually use them, knowing that you can really stick them anywhere like your phone, agenda, books, etc. It's really an item that suits anyone. Badges are also super popular. A few years ago, people started randomly asking me more and more for badges, and I also noticed more and more artists offering them in their permanent regular assortment. Some con visitors really wear a full collection of badges on their vests or bags, and it's a goodie that allows your work to be more visible in public. So always make sure to engrave your name or website in it in case people ask the wearer who that cool artist is. Now, as popular as badges are at cons, they don't seem to be so popular online, well, within the people in my environment, which brings me to the next point. Enamel pins seem much more popular online, or maybe I'm just surrounded by too many pin lovers. You could call them an upgrade of badges, as they are much more defined and elegant than badges, but often coming also along with pretty gold and silver highlights. At cons, I often notice beginners selling badges, while the most established artists have switched to enamel pins. Obviously, production cost here is much more expensive and you'll need to produce a whole bunch of them in one go, but I wanted to mention them as they seem to be so high in demand as of late. For each of these products, you probably won't be able to ask your local print shop and you'll need to produce them online. There are many companies with different price ranges and different qualities, and especially for stickers and badges, it is indeed possible to find printers that offer single motifs or lower quantities. Budgets will vary but still remain quite affordable for most, so I definitely encourage you to do your research and compare. And if you're that serious about stickers and badges, want to constantly change your offer or be able to print on demand to avoid stocking all the goods at home, and if you're committed to monetizing your art in the long term, note that you can also buy sticker and badges machines, and some very good stuff is already available on Amazon. It's an investment, but in the long term it will definitely pay off. For instance, an artist friend creates a new sticker sheet for Patreon supporters every single month, and her sticker machine allows much more flexibility on her schedule as there's no manufacturing and shipping delays, and she can also define her motifs and quantities as she likes. This type of merch is also still easy and low cost to send in case you sell it through your online shop. Stickers can of course be just put into a simple envelope like every other paper good, and for the others, a bubble wrapped envelope will often do. In case you have larger animal pins, an artist recommended protecting them with a small box though, especially when shipping overseas for longer trips. If you have the possibility and the desire to create books, by all means do so. There are much more artists who just draw than artists who also have books, so that can already play in your favor as it's a product that not necessarily every illustrator has. Also, more related to live events, a book can help you transition between different types of fairs like comic cons, manga cons, book fairs, art shows, which means potential new clients who get to directly see your work. Manga and comics are always interesting for people who just like discovering new stories. If you're at an event, let people flip through the book. If online, make sure to include extracts and photos so that they can get a good idea of your style and content. Also, it's my personal opinion, but I believe you'll have better chances with a one-shot rather than a series. Especially if people don't know you and if your audience is still small, it doesn't always look very attractive to bet on a newbie author where you don't even know if she will ever get to see the end of the story. That's how it's worked best for me, but really just my opinion. I'd love to know what you think about this though, whether it's as an author or customer, so tell us in the comments. Art books are also a great idea, especially if you have a nice collection of artwork you're proud of. It's much more different from buying separate pieces of paper, as now you can have them all neatly printed in a pretty book, which is also much easier to store on your bookshelf. So really, if you're ready, an art book is always interesting for illustrators. In general, concerning books, you'll have multiple options. The classical way will be through a publisher, though most people in their shops and at cons choose self-publishing. In case you choose the latter, again, see if you can get direct guidance from a local printing company. Maybe it will be a little more expensive, but you'll have much more control over the final product. Otherwise, there's so many options online, so have a look at the different options and what suits you best. To give you a general idea, I used to print around 100 books in my early career and usually needed 2 or 3 years to sell them all, with an average of 1 event a month, my online shop and some deposits in bookstores. Logically, the more I improved the printing, general appearance and my art skills, the more people got attracted and the more I sold. I was pretty shocked at the difference in sales with my latest manga, Illustrator Fairy Tales, where I sold over 50 books at the first con after the publishing. Yes, I had invested way more into a pretty jacket with varnish and soft touch cover, but the difference in interest was really just mind-blowing. But yeah, even without this, there were still steady sales in books before, so definitely give it a try. And prepare a suitcase, as it's going to be much heavier than a simple paper prints. Anyways, I'd love to hear from you now. What products do you offer or plan to offer? Which ones are your best sellers? Tell us in the comments so that you can inspire and get inspired together. Getting started is always the most difficult part as you don't have any feedback yet, so I'd really recommend to start with a few motives and prints each. If you already have a following on social media, you can see which posts got the most likes to see which motives are your most popular and would perform well on products too. Once you start selling, you'll get more and more feedback and see what works best for you. If you found this video helpful, please leave it a like to let me know this topic interests you, and we'll dive deeper into artist merch next time, comparing homemade versus company-made products and client feedback with real-life testing at conventions. Also, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell if you haven't done so yet, to grow from art to business on Tuesdays 6 p.m. And in the meanwhile, you can join us on Instagram at myartbizacademia for tips, artist interviews, and a loving community of aspiring illustrators who want to monetize their work like you. So let's do this together, and we'll see each other soon.